Every company, big and small, from B2B to B2C, has questions, probably a lot of questions about their customers and their preferences. Taking that time of weeks and months for typical market research down to days, weeks at most. Hey, my manager really wanted to know, what's the price we should charge for this new product we're about to launch? What's the ideal market that we launch it in to maximize, market potential or revenue share? If I'm selling to a customer, I still need to talk to that customer, right? I can't make a fake person and make data-driven decisions based off of a fake person. I don't care. I don't care if you're solving my problem. I don't care what's happening behind the website, behind the scenes, as long as you're solving my problem. Make sure you get to solve the problem first, and then use the technology to make it easier and faster to solve it. Train like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, very similar, but different cultures, different reasons, different audiences. There's a lot of different things that tool needs to be trained. You're not going away. Humans are not going away. Humans got to be there somewhere. But I think where the AI can help the researchers, I can do 10 times the work. You're not doing research, your competitors are, and somebody's wanting, somebody's learning and learning about your customers. So,
hey folks, welcome to another episode of AllAboutAI.com exclusive interview series. Today, we have Tim Lawton, co-founder of SightX. In this interview, we'll explore SightX's journey, the power of Ada, its generative AI consultant, and how AI is revolutionizing market research with smarter insights and automation. Let's dive into the world of AI-driven decision-making.
Describe your background, what inspired you to creation of SightX, and how did the idea of ATA, your generative AI consultant, come about?
Yeah. So my personal background was actually I'm in New York City. I was actually in finance before this, and the military before that. So a bit of a circuitous route to market research in general. My co-founder, her background was in research and statistics, and as we started talking, as friends do, about work and how can we make things better, or complaining about how we're doing things, and sparking ideas. And make a long story short, really what it came down to was seeing in both of our respective industries and friends as well, and speaking to them, and where are some of the tools that were out there for basic survey research that started 20 plus years ago. Really still saw that companies, still big and small, didn't really have a fast or efficient way to engage and understand consumers. Every company, big and small, from B2B to B2C, has questions, probably a lot of questions about their customers and their preferences and prospective customers and their industries and things. But unless you were a major corporation with a large budget, you didn't have access to a lot of these capabilities. And that's kind of one of the initial opportunity we saw, was a way to not only make market research in general more accessible to companies of all sizes, but also improve the process, right? Because there were survey tools been around for a long time, but then there's data visualization tools and data analysis tools like Excel and Tableau and a lot of others. And they were very disparate systems, which made the process very long, could be costly, time consuming. So there's a lot of different those issues that we're solving for initially with just, the SightX platform is really streamlining that workflow process. And then, using things like artificial intelligence and machine learning helped, just take that process and improve it even better, into giving you more insights, if you will, at a faster, better, deeper kind of level in terms of types of analysis that was possible. So initially, it was just that a big opportunity that we saw that, this type of work was possible only if you had the big budget for it, which nowadays, we're kind of making that available to companies of all sizes.
Interesting. So what are some unique data visualization tools offered by SightX that enhances user experience?
So for us, what we really tried to do was one, have that in one kind of streamlined system. But as for anybody who's taken a survey or written a survey or launched a survey, there's a lot of different types of questions. There's everything multiple choice to we have like concept testing or pricing studies, and all these kind of methodologies that are used to be kind of out of touch, because you needed to be the data scientist or the statistician to be able to use them, because they're really complex. So what we've done on kind of both sides of that research equation is really have the features and the capabilities that are complex and can be really powerful, but make them easy to use, which is easier said than done. And then the visualization of those are respective for each, kind of output, right? Your multiple choice question is going to be a little bit different than your pricing question, or maybe a max diff or conjoin or something like that. So a few different ways, really having unique visualizations for the data that comes in, and then give you the ability to, I'll say, play with that data, filter, compare, contrast, run advanced kind of statistical analysis on it through, even having pivot tables and things like that, but just having the system build them for you faster, run that analysis faster, and then have those outputs that are, again, a little more easy to digest, easy to use, and it gives you the ability. So if you have a data scientist on your team, you probably understand a few more things, but you don't need that now. With SightX, you can have these really cool, advanced, powerful tools that are, again, the way we've kind of built it is just making them easy to digest in visuals or kind of simplified data tables, if you will, but then kind of give you the tools to be able to create your outputs that you need.
With this, you don't need any data scientists in your team.
It helps. And not that those roles are going away at any time, because again, there's some things that are like advanced and even, it's only so simple that you can make some things. But for the most part, largely speaking, it's not a necessary need to have.
Okay. So how does Ada ensure the data privacy and security of sensitive customer information? Because it's all about information.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has that question now. So Ada, actually named after Ada Lovelace, who was the first engineer and happened to be a female. So that's who it's named after initially. But the way that and how we incorporate artificial intelligence into SightX, we've had artificial intelligence and machine learning since we began for things like advanced statistical analysis and machine learning for things like segmentation, persona creation, weighting of variables, and all sorts of manner of kind of statistics and stuff. But then when generative AI, came more to it's been around for a while, but it came into the public domain in a large way, now over a year ago, incorporating that into it. So what we've done with Ada is create the insights industry's first true generative AI assistant. So you can do everything from query Ada, again, talking about the data, what you give into Ada. So things like knowledge transfer, like if I'm not a trained researcher, even if I am a trained researcher in this specific project that I'm working on for my company, what's the best methodology to use to find the optimal price point for a new product, or what questions that I ask for this type of initiative, and so on and so forth. So you can use that type, use Ada for that type of just knowledge creation, all the way through creating projects itself. So hey, I have a new product I want to bring to market in a new country, and here's my audience, and adding in for the prompt for Ada, and she'll actually create projects for you. But in terms of how we're using that data and that privacy, because a lot of people have that question, right? So if I give my prompt to Ada, but it's specific to my product and my company, I actually don't want you're a competitor of mine. I don't want my information to train yours. And what we've done is, once the data comes into SightX, it's not, we're using it to help improve the system itself, similar to the rest of the data, even without, aside from AI, it helps improve SightX in terms of its own efficiencies and operations, but we're not sharing that across customer accounts or having it train your data to help me as a competitor. And we also don't release it back to the LLMs or other tools that we use. So we're not training OpenAI or Midjourney or any of the others. Once it comes into SightX, your data is secure in the system as it would be with any other type of data source. And we're not sending it back out to train competitors or anything else. And again, we get that question a lot because it's obviously on the top of people's minds. So we take data privacy and security very seriously.
Oh, that's great. So how does SightX streamline the workflow for market researchers and non-researcher professionals?
Yeah. So as I was saying before, really the step one we did when we first founded the company was really combining all these disparate systems into one, right? So there used to be survey tools over here, and then you had to find your customers somewhere. And there's a lot of consumer panels out there, of different ones for different audiences all over the world, but you needed to go find those. And then there's the analysis tools. Once you get the data, you had to export the data from one platform, put it into another, and do your analysis and visualization. So we combined all three of those components into one for the survey creation piece. And so we offer templates off the shelf, but you can obviously use Ada to design and build projects for you. And then with one click, we can design your audience. So I need to speak to, whatever the demographic profile is, or, and they need to have shopped here or bought this product, however you need to define that audience. And then all within the streamlined platform. And then as soon as that project is launched, you should be getting responses back from those consumers within, hours. And projects can be completed within a day. So taking that time of weeks and months for typical market research down to days, weeks at most, if it's a really, really complex project. And while that data is being collected, you can be visualizing the data, analyzing the data. So a lot of other platforms have to make you stop and then do this thing and then do this thing. So it's still segmented in terms of how you can operate. But with SightX, you can operate one seamless process throughout the entire project. And then, can be conducting that analysis. Obviously you can export things from the platform and a number of different dashboards for different visualizations, for obviously different types of outputs and things. So it's really having everything in one place. And the bigger thing, I think the benefit of SightX is really the flexibility too. So another thing that we saw in this industry was there's still a lot of point solutions. So, if you want to run really quick, very, very basic research, go to that platform over there. But if you want to run really complex things, use this platform. So even still with the bringing in a lot of more technology to this industry, there was still fragmentation because there was different platforms doing specific things. Yeah, making them faster and more efficient and more time and cost efficient for sure. But you still had to sign up for 2, 3, 4 vendors to do all of your research. But with SightX, as we evolved our company, we thought to ourselves, well, we can do, we build this big complex tool to do really advanced research, but we can also do the basic stuff. If I just want 50 people answer this question to just validate an idea I have, you can do that, but you can also do the global big tracking study or a pricing or a package testing and things. So being able to streamline not only the workflow for each project, but also be having one platform for all of your projects at the same time.
Wow, interesting. So can you talk us through about how Ada creates custom tailored surveys and experiments?
So what we've curated Ada itself in terms of so you can't come in to Ada and maybe ask it for a dinner recipe or write a term paper or something like that. So we have connected to different LLMs and different generative AI applications and offering the best of those for your use case kind of behind the scenes. But what Ada do and what our team has done is really kind of curate the information that's coming in to make sure it's market research, but also industry related and things like that, for you to be able to access for again, whether it's research, knowledge transfer, questions about specific industry and so on and so forth. So it's the kind of giving you that curated information system that is about research specifically. But then with a prompt, I can create a project and Ada will create it on my dashboard, and Ada in the SightX application can kind of pop out. I can just be querying Ada while the project's being built and say, actually, use this question or add a question about this thing. Or in the middle of that, actually, I was thinking about, potentially understanding consumer preferences, which methodology should I use? Oh, you should use a conjoint analysis for that. And then I can say, oh, great, add that to my project, and I'll add it right to your project. So, it's more, you don't have to know something in a deep technical sense and then come in and manually do it. You can if you want to, because we have those applications and you can build and save your templates down and things like that. But from the easiest perspective, log in and just start, conversing with Ada and see what she gives you. And then you can edit, save, and things like that.
Great. So how does Ada's sentiment analysis and categorization feature help businesses understand their audience better?
Yeah. So that's one thing, the qualitative research, so SightX is a quantitative market research platform. We have a qualitative component in the so like open-ended text questions or consumer reviews types of things. So we're not doing like online interviews or anything, but from from project and getting kind of written responses back, what Ada can do in a matter of seconds is distill that sentiment down and highlight trends, topics that come up. So, hundreds or thousands of responses that somebody written about, consumer reviews or feedback about a new potential product design, package design. She can distill those down into here are the main themes that came up. and also provide anecdotes as well. So if you ask her to summarize, the key themes of feedback related to the package design test that we just ran, and also provide me with an anecdote about each topic that you find. And within a couple of seconds, you can distill those down into an executive summary with here's the themes, here's the sentiments that were shared, and here's a quote or a comment related to that specific thing. And then again, you continue to query that again to be more specific, and it's all about how you work with your prompts. But I think that's one of the very, very interesting and cool things about what specifically Ada can do is take hours of work down to seconds, and then it gives you time back in your day. One of our mottos at SightX is automate your curiosity. So if I don't have time to do anything, if I have to work the entire day, and then by the end of the day, I don't have time to be curious because I was just doing all this busy work, reading the prompt or reading the feedback and all those things. So what Ada does is give you that time back in your day to then be curious about the data, ask those questions, and say, actually, what about this theme is interesting? How did it relate to, male's feedback or female's feedback or whatever? So gives you the ability to be curious about the data to make better informed decisions.
Oh, means you can spend more time in making decisions rather than fetching the data.
Exactly.
Great. Yeah, that's
exactly.
interesting. So how does Ada suggest ideal sample sizes to ensure accurate research?
So that is, I'd say it depends, but it kind of depends on the project, right? So for a pretty, straightforward, I just need a couple of answers that kind of directionally correct. She'll start off with like, all right, well, here's your kind of basic, if you want to be statistically significant, you should start with this number based off of the number of questions you have and the kind of your project intent, if you will. But if you have things like, maybe a max diff experiment or a concept test where, maybe you're testing 2 or 3 different designs, but not every single respondent's going to see every single design, right? Because you need to have the ideal segment or ideal audience for each one of those things. So again, having that interactive ability to engage with her and say, here's the specific project and here's the methodologies we're using and the length of the survey, like now given these inputs and parameters in the United States or in Australia or in Great Britain, given that population size and these inputs. So again, really just having that interaction with Ada to do it based off of your specific project.
Okay, talking about decision makers with large amount of data. So how does Ada provides high-level summaries for decision makers?
With a click of a button.
Right.
I can't even, not kidding. So what Ada do? So Ada actually will follow you around in the platform throughout the different stages, right? So I'm building a project, I can query and she can do the work and we'll provide popular topics and suggested prompts. Once the data is collected, I can move over to the analysis side of the platform. And in those dashboards, there's literally a prompt that says, write an executive summary. So I'm not kidding. So you can literally just click a button and in a couple of seconds, she'll generate an executive summary about the study that you just ran. Here are the key themes. Here's what the main takeaways. And what's really cool is that she'll also offer calls to actions and suggestions on where to market, where your audience is. And hey, this audience is your ideal segment is this, here's your profile. You're more likely to find them on Instagram. Here's based off of their responses. Here's some taglines that you should use to market this product. So giving you those suggestions to kind of get you thinking in the right direction, I think is more powerful than sometimes just giving credit for. Because again, if I don't know, sometimes I don't know where to start, right? I have the data. What do I do next? Give me an executive summary. Just give me the quick in a couple seconds. Oh, okay. Now let me think about it. It's almost like, it's like brainstorming with Ada, like sparking ideas. And then I can be curious and say, oh, great. How about, what are the key drivers for this purchase decision or that? And having that back and forth, but it can be done in just a couple of seconds. And but I think gives you that like inspiration, if you will, for what's uncovered under the data.
Means you don't need to use any summarizing tool to summarize the data. It's then and there in seconds.
Not anymore. Ada will do it for you.
That's interesting. So how does SightX integrate with other platforms? Because a business uses so many platforms, so cross-platform to share data. So how does SightX integrate with other platforms?
So right now we have a full set of APIs, and we have some customers who have full white label integrations, so they can take that
Okay.
data and obviously spread it out internally where they have other kind of BI tools and things like that. So that's one way to do it. It doesn't need to be a full API. It could be just pulling the data from the analysis into different tools.
Right.
We do connect with online consumer panels to make that seamless, sort of finding your ideal customers. So that's kind of integrated fully in there as well. And we've kind of thought and ideated around what other tools that it makes sense for us to like truly integrate with, and not just come from an API, but maybe data sharing, other visualization tools. So the short version is not that many other tools now. CRMs, we have HubSpot and Salesforce integrations and those types of things. So you can actually connect your customer data to SightX to be able to engage with and send emails to and surveys to as well. So those are kind of key ones right now, your CRMs, BI tools and other kind of API connections at the moment.
Oh, amazing. So how does Ada transform customer feedback into actionable marketing assets?
So as I mentioned, that you kind of follow you throughout. So once you're on the analysis section and you have your Ada's in front of all your data, we mentioned the executive summary, you can just press a button. But if you said, hey, asking about the segments, so Ada can help work kind of generate your ideal customer segments. Again, using the data that's in the specific study itself that you just ran. So it can be anything around. Is one kind of example would be that is finding your ideal segment, and then querying her to what's your how do males in Australia, think about this product, or what's their likelihood of purchase, like that type of stuff. So you can actually, again, come up with those ideas and be inspired. Say, oh, what I'm curious about that. What are the likelihood of purchase for this profile of person? Any of those types of things, right? So, hey, my manager really wanted to know, what's the price we should charge for this new product we're about to launch? What's the ideal market that we launch it in to maximize, market potential or revenue share? Any of those types of things you can use or questions, if you will, to engage with and query Ada, with just a prompt, and then again gives you that feedback, and you just have that iterative action to continue to engage with and get those answers from.
Okay, that's great. So you talk about analysis. So what predictive analytics does Ada offer to help businesses anticipate future trends?
So that's my co-founder is the PhD statistician in the room, so I'll leave the more complex answers to her. But we do have things like again, you talk about pricing studies, right? To maximize maximize our revenue versus what's my price range type of stuff. Predictive in the sense of, all right, well, if we want to maximize revenue, here's a price we should charge. But then we have things like conjoint simulator, so you can actually run a conjoint study and then have the tool itself be able to suggest optimal packaging designs and configurations to predict and help you maximize sales based off of product features and things like that, as well as more advanced statistical things like regressions that we have in the platform, correlations and everything else. A lot of those tools can be used in a variety of ways for the the quote unquote predictive types of analysis, from again your kind of like straightforward, if you will, like linear regression type of analysis to things like pricing suggestions and expectations to predict future revenue, or market share as well. Market share is a big one to help kind of predict too.
So when you talk about different industries have different tools, different marketing dynamics. So how does SightX handle, you can say, customized surveys and experiments to meet the unique needs of different industries?
It's a great question. And I think the simplest way to think about it is everyone's a customer, right? Yeah. So if I'm in the healthcare industry, I'm a patient, I'm a customer of sorts. Right. I'm a fan, and I'm a football fan. I'm a customer of a team. I buy a snack at CVS this afternoon, and I'm a customer of Hershey's or Mars, and even B2B customers that we sell to, agencies and other, some of our customers, again, the healthcare space. I need to talk to doctors because that's our big pharmaceutical company. Still a customer, still a quote unquote B2B audience, but everyone's a customer at some point. So I think that the questions themselves are applicable across, regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of product you're buying. If I'm that company, I still want to know if I'm selling a T-shirt or a bottle of soda or a brand new electric vehicle. My questions are still, how much should I charge for it? Who's my ideal customer? Where should I sell it? What are the taglines that are going to resonate? What are the designs that are going to be, they're going to be optimal? So, again, those questions they change obviously across industry and types, but the overall types of questions that you can have and adapt across industries are largely the same in their intent and their goals.
It means Ada has the flexibility to deal with all the industries at one point in time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Any company, if you have a customer, you should probably be doing market research.
All right. So how important is customer feedback in shaping the features and functionalities of Ada?
Fundamental. I think from the start, from the MVP days to now with all sorts of features to include Gen AI and Ada, it's, we're not building it for ourselves. We're building it so we can grow the company, so we can increase sales and have an impact across companies. So we constantly ask for feedback, and even new prospects sometimes as a sort of early stage tech company. If you're a big brand or something and you have a lot of ideas, and we know that we want to continually add and innovate. Like we're not going to dream up innovation on our own all the time. Sometimes we will, but we still ask for like, hey, what's your wish list? What do you wish you could do this platform? Again, sometimes people wish big, wish too big sometimes, but at least gives us an idea how people are thinking about it, or how people are thinking about like, blank slate. What is your perfect world? What is your perfect research experiments and so forth, and getting those to give us ideas and spark ideas. So the user feedback is a continuous ongoing thing for no matter how big we are as a company.
Yeah, true. Okay, great. So we all know that team is one of the greatest asset of any business. So what strategies do you use to keep your team motivated and aligned with the SightX vision and goals?
It's a good question. I think it's just being transparent about what we're trying to do as a company, what the bigger vision is, what the bigger picture is. I think it's part of it to make, to give people buy-in. If they don't know where we're going or why we're going there, it's tough to stay motivated to stay on the ship. I think is a piece of it. And I think now in good ways with the advent or more kind of public digestion, if you will, or usage of Gen AI and things like that. It's kind of an exciting time. I do feel like we're at a very kind of pivotal, transitional period, stepwise even function for how we use technology across, our business of course, but across, all applications or all people's lives. So I think there's a little bit of that too, just general interest and excitement of being part of a company that is innovative at the forefront of this groundbreaking technology and usage of that to come together and think, okay, how can we use it? How can we take this technology, ingest it in our system, design it, use it, apply it to in cool, really interesting ways that's new and innovative. And I think this industry too, in the research and insight space, is really just now being disrupted by us and some others, obviously, and pushing this industry to be way more tech enabled than it ever has been before. So in some ways that, just the industry in general is going through I think an exciting transitional phase to be much more kind of tech enabled and tech forward too.
Oh, great. So what role do AI ethics play in developing customer facing technologies, and how does SightX address ethical considerations?
Well, I think for, we want to be the, secure data privacy, obviously, ethical stuff. I mean, the market research space, it's, constrained to our use cases and things. So thankfully, in some good ways, there's some of those considerations when it comes to ethics and application. Some, are not important, but they just don't directly apply to us and what we're doing, given our focus and applications and things like that. So it really is just, again, kind of data security and privacy and kind of having the ethical banner around that. But I think just in general is really just how to be good stewards of this industry and this usage, because if we or anybody takes that data and is not honest and forthright with how it's being used or what we're doing it for, in that case, then it kind of ruins the trust across not only us, but other people, other tools and things like that. So there's a little bit of probably unspoken, if you will, hopefully it continues to, every company has some sort of responsibility from an ethical consideration perspective of because again, technology it's a lot of it's behind the scenes, and most people, I'm not an engineer. I know enough on the surface, but I'm not building or developing it, right? So there's different levels of knowledge. And then, and yet if one of those trust rungs break, and it could be unfortunate for everybody. So I think everyone has a little bit of buy-in. Everyone has a little bit of skin in the game.
Of course. Should be very careful with that. So talking about the partnerships and collaborations, are we expecting any significant partnership and collaboration with SightX anytime soon?
We just announced one big partnership with a panel company that has access to those consumer audiences, as I mentioned, where they operate in a certain region of the world. They wanted to offer our technology to their customers in a sort of a co-branded partnership type of way. As other kind of bigger brands and stuff. So I think in this space, given the platform itself and what we're doing, there's a lot of different ways for that, and we have some probably more private partnerships that are again sort of white label integrations and things like that. So kind of different flavors of partnerships, if you will. But as we're always open to ideas, to partnerships for a lot of different reasons and use cases. So
we wish you good luck for that. So what has talking about SightX as a journey whole, what is the most rewarding moment for you since the beginning of SightX?
That's a good question. I think maybe not as simple, but
you can share any success story.
As we started to grow the company and took some venture investment and really started to scale. I think for me, probably one of the most rewarding times is hearing somebody who we didn't know myself or my co-founder, basically a perfect stranger, convince them to join the company and to get on our journey, and hear somebody else that wasn't part of the initial idea and founding say we. And it just shows that kind of wait, so there is a we here, right? The first time you actually see and hear and feel that so it's not just my partner and I sitting in a corner and trying to figure stuff out. There's other people on board, and we're sharing that the burden and the fun and the journey together. But I think that the first time I heard somebody say we was
you guys have already built the community in the beginning without actually creating it. That's amazing. All right, that's amazing. So how do you measure the success and impact of Ada for your clients?
Probably still in the early days, to be honest, in terms of really measuring the impact. I think initially in the most basic sense of just is Ada being utilized? How is it being utilized? And as we're continuing to learning, right? Learning what is that impact and what is driving value. Talking about customer feedback, it's still, hey, I saw you using Ada a lot, and I saw here are some of the applications you use, but what was valuable out of that? Why did you do that thing? So in good ways, we're still in kind of learning phase ourselves about the real value, in addition to just, I made your life easier and I gave you time back in the day and I saved you money. Those are all awesome, and I hope we continue to do all that for everybody. But the next level down is still learning that again and getting that customer feedback of how are you using it and why was that useful and how was that impactful. And those are the kind of cool, if people are using it for things that we probably hadn't even thought of before. So seeing and hearing that feedback has been pretty cool too, and continue to do it to have a better answer for you in a year from now.
All right. We definitely want more and more successful stories from SightX client. So okay, I'll be asking some of them general questions now. No more features question. So what role do you see generative AI playing in the future of market research and consumer insight?
I think a big role, to be honest. But it's, they're kind of early, very, very early days now in terms of these applications. I've already heard people talking about things like synthetic data, which makes no sense to me, because if I'm selling to a customer, I still need to talk to that customer, right? I can't make a fake person and make data-driven decisions based off of a fake person.
Yeah.
So I think that, in my personal opinion, I think the generative applications are really like a continued evolution of what we're doing is time to value and making that even training Ada even more to more refined or better suggestions of here's the type of project, here's my goal for this thing, here's the answer I'm trying to figure out, and having just more robust knowledge transfer and suggestions to, as we learn, say actually here's a methodology, here's a way, here's a template, here's a question you should ask or something. So I think to continue to increase the value that we're giving from just that that knowledge transfer, and there's also different types of reporting and visualizations and things like the executive summaries we talked about, and that's a big one. Creative assets, evolving into package designs. Well, we can help with generative AI develop other package designs for you to test. So I think there's a lot of like different avenues and use cases where it can be applied. I don't think there's one like overarching here's how it's going to evolve, but I think there's a lot of different steps in the research process. Talk about different industries for different reasons. So I think that it's going to continue to go deeper in terms of how it's integrated into your workflow process, and then who knows what I think that's in the next couple of years in the near term, but 3 to 5 years, it's exciting to not know, because where we've been in the last year and a half, right? See where we've come. What's the next year and a half going to be like? I don't know. It's exciting, but it's TBD.
I see. So when you talk about AI trends, it's ever changing. So can you share some upcoming trends that in AI and market research that businesses should be ready for?
I think a couple big ones. One, you talk about market research and the stuff that we're doing at SightX, right? That workflow, process automation, and just kind of marketing and market research broadly. The creative assets thing I think is going to be a big one that we're evaluating, and we're doing our diligence and research across a number of different tools as well. Whether it's social advertisements or having AI generate designs, taglines, finding out your customer, where are they, connecting to different tools and platforms, whether it's social media platforms or shopping tools or whatever you have. So I think the broader, much more integration across a broader set of tools. And then for a lot of different applications too. So it's like the survey component piece, more predictive tools, creative assets, a lot of different avenues. I think where could go.
All right. So talking about AI misconceptions. So what are some common misconceptions about AI in market research, and how do you address them?
I think right now, initially, and is we're still in kind of the early days, and I was maybe a month or two ago, I was at a conference, and somebody from a large Fortune 50 company had said, actually, our company said, nope, we're not using it now. We're wait to see. We got to figure out what, the data privacy thing is a big one, and who's building it, and we got to do our diligence. So IT reviews are getting tougher and longer. So I think for that, there's still a little bit of apprehension in terms of using it, right? Because it's still a little bit of a black box. And as we grow and have more use cases to build our trust in the industry, to say, we're good stewards, we have good ethics around it, good data privacy around it, and here are some people we've worked with, you can trust us. So I think that it's a slower role, but it's happening, and more and more people now, quickly, in the matter of months, more and more people are just becoming more open to it, to say, okay, we can try to use that in our workflow. And I think a lot of times once they do, it's, oh, we should be doing this more. Right. So it's a little bit of foot in the door, a little bit of like them using it in the application we've designed for them, not just go online and use AI, right? Like we're packaging it in a very prescribed way for their, use cases, and to add specific type of value to their work.
Amazing. So what personal achievements or milestone are you most proud of in your career?
Oof, another good one. Probably, I don't know. Milestone's probably just starting the company. I was always
indeed.
Indeed, I was a little more risk averse before we started, and then but I think took the first couple of years of I'm probably proud of myself for just doing it, and sticking with it, and with my
doing
partner,
it amazingly,
the team
actually.
that we have, and I'm still here. So I'm proud to still be here and talking to you.
You
So.
should. Yeah. We are also proud of you for having such an interesting AI tool for us. So just a couple of more questions, and I'll just definitely leave you.
Sure.
I'm sure. What advice would you give? What advice would you give to inspiring entrepreneurs looking to enter in the AI industry?
I would say, I mean, I think it's a little bit of the kind of entrepreneurial advice and the Gen AI stuff. Do your research, right? There's a lot of different applications and there's a lot of different use cases, and just make sure that there's the opportunities now are so much bigger because of the tools and technology. So I think my first piece of advice would be stop and think about it. Think about what you're going to do and why you're going to do it. See who else is doing it out there. But the barriers to entry are a lot lower now, so it's easier to get started, to get into some of these tools and to utilize them and stuff. So I would say, one, do it, but take a deep breath and think about what you're doing for and why, and really what that valuable application is. And you go back to when ChatGPT was first released, everyone logged on. Their usage was through the roof, right? Because it was fun, it was cool, it was new. 2 or 3 months later, users dropped off a cliff because the utility was gone. I don't have it. Why am I going to use this thing? It's, I mean, a lot, and again, it's picked up for sure, but like initially it was, very cool and new. And then people said, well, okay, but like, it doesn't really help me day to day. Right. So I think it's taking that the technology is really cool and interesting. How do you apply it to a specific use case or a specific problem? Right. So it's more taking that and packaging it for somebody else versus just go use AI. It's like, well, AI for what, right? How do I apply that to what I'm doing? And then if you could take that, obviously solving a problem, and do it that way, it's a little bit easier barrier to having that conversation versus here I'm using this technology, which is great to have, but like I don't care what technology you're using as long as you're solving my problem. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get got up on is, it's the AI, it's this technology. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you're solving my problem, I don't care what's happening behind the website, behind the scenes, as long as you're solving my problem. What AI does is give entrepreneurs and companies better, faster, cooler, interesting ways to solve those problems, which is great. But I think that's the bigger problem is, don't use AI just for the sake of using AI. What problem are you solving? And solve that in the best, most optimal way for your users, right? And if it happens to be AI, awesome. Because you usually, ideally can make things way more interesting, cooler, write executive summaries with a button, do your research type of thing. So, but it's really like, make sure you get to solve the problem first and then use the technology to make it easier and faster to solve it.
So it means work more on the usability, the use cases, and, the application of the tool. We'll keep this with us. So I'll just end this session with the one of the most heated debate in the tech community. Can artificial intelligence truly replace humans in the field of customer research?
Right now, no. Maybe in the future, in that unknown future, who knows where we're going to be in a couple of years. But right now, no, because one, I know my business, right? There's no tool that's, tools aren't specifically trained like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, very similar, but different cultures, different reasons, different audiences. Like there's a lot of different things that tool needs to be trained for. And then the audience itself, again, we're talking about like the synthetic data, which is still weird to me, because I can't take a fake person and make an actual informed decision based off of a fake person if you're not my actual customer. So I think talking to customers, like you're not going away. Humans are not going away. Humans got to be there somewhere. But I think where the AI can help the researchers, I can do 10 times the work with a tool that's powered by AI and that sort of thing. But I still need it because I know my company. The AI doesn't, it can be trained and it can improve and train and learn. But the market changes, my customer changes. My CEO says, hey, here's a new market entrance we want to explore. That market. Yes, AI will significantly help expedite the knowledge transfer and things like that. But I don't think anytime soon on either side of that equation, humans are going anywhere.
So it means human's mind would definitely be there.
Not yet anyway.
And anything you would like to say to your clients, to your potential customers?
Sign up for SightX. Give me a call. I think for us, in all seriousness, I mean, I think where we've looked and seen our thought and vision about, the research space is really, what we were just talking about. I think applying these things to make your life easier, to make things faster or more efficient. Any customer, big or small, has questions about customers. And if you're not doing research, your competitors are, and somebody's wanting, somebody's
Definitely.
learning and learning about your customers. So, I would just urge anybody to do it and do more of it, because with SightX and other kind of advanced technologies, we're making it easier to do so. So there's no reason not to
Thank
nowadays.
you so much for that. And
Yeah.
making it easier for us to do. Anyways, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Mr. Tim. Thank you for your time. We really look forward to hearing
Appreciate it.
your
Thank you.
insights and learning more about SightX.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. We'll do a follow-up in a year or so. We can catch up on these, what's happening in the future.
Sure. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Have a good one. Bye-bye.